Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, aloha, hello, shalom, all of the good stuff. My name is Jason Weiss, and this is the Ask Jason Weiss show. It is our second to last show for 2023. It has been an up and down year, good riddance and welcome to 2024 is all I can say. With that being said, I got to put my normal disclaimer out there. Nothing today discussed is legal advice. Should you seek legal, financial, or moving advice, you should connect with an attorney directly. I am not your attorney. Nothing here is attorney-client privilege, and we are just talking in generics here. So I threw the word moving in there, right? So in life, stresses that are always there are and I think number one is the death of a child. I think numbers 2 or 3 are the death of a parent. I know law school is up there. I know med school is up there. And another stress that we all have in our lives is moving, right? So we're all stuck in our homes. We're all stuck where we're at. And then all of a sudden, after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or like in my parents' case, 35 years, you decide to move. And most of the time, you'll say to somebody, hey, you just moved. What'd you think of your moving company? And most of the time, people are going to be like, they needed cash at the end. And, they needed this, or they broke my this, or they broke my that. Old school, all of that. Well, I can honestly say, as both a client, a friend, a colleague, and someone I respect, I have with me today Mina. And Mina's last name, I'm going to butcher, so I'm just going to call him Mina for today, but he'll give a formal introduction. But Mina is spot on. Moving Reinvented. Now, what do I mean by that? I can tell you that I personally have used him multiple times, and my parents moved Mina. And my mom saying, oh my God, it was so easy and so unstressful and so much of a better experience than I was hoping for, means the world to me, which means Mina did his job. And that's all I can say. So I have with me today my guest, Mina, who's talking about Moving Reinvented. He has a company called iMovers, which is out of this world incredible. And he also has a couple of new things how he's revolutionizing the moving experience. And it's called Moving Reinvented is one of his companies. So without further ado, Mina, you can pronounce your last name. So this is my good friend, client, colleague, and I am a client of his as well, Mina. So Mina, you have the floor. Just give us a brief introduction of what got you into the moving business.
Sure. Thank you, Jason. Let's start with the last name. I'm going to give you a little tip there to make it easy. As my sister says, Akladious, just think of a cloudy ass. That should make it nice and easy for you.
Akladious. I like it. A cloudy ass. Okay, so we got Mina Akladious here, who, again, in my phone, he's Mina A, and Mina is in the moving business. So Mina, how long have you been in the moving business?
Nearly a decade, going on 9 years now.
And I'm sure when you graduated from college, you didn't go, I want to be a mover or I want to own a moving company. So what went off in your head to say, I'm going to get into this industry?
Well, I'll tell you, there's nothing in this world that I dislike more than moving. Painting, second. But moving is number one. I remember spending my 25th birthday having to move out of my house with my sisters. And I just remember thinking, like, I never, ever want to do this again. We called on friends. Nobody showed up. So it was me and my 3 sisters having to move this 5-bedroom house within 2 days. How I got into moving, I was working with moving companies in my merchant services company. And I took a keen interest to it. I appreciated how they did business and how much revenue they did. And I just took a liking to it. Hate moving, but I enjoyed the moving process in terms of like how they operate. And I don't know. It just happened overnight. I got into moving 9 years later, 2 moving companies, and we're getting ready to launch a moving technology company.
So before I forget, because this is on my brain, it has nothing to do with you. When I was working at one of the larger firms, I had an intern. His name was Matt, and Matt. My standing joke with Matt is, "Hey, are you moving this weekend? Are you around?" Because Matt was a mover. So Matt, if you're watching, there's my plug to you. Hope you're not moving today. Hope you're still in your house. Hope everything is great. But if you're gonna move, Matt, make sure to reach out to Mina. Okay, so everybody, if you're gonna move, make sure you reach out to Mina. The guy that doesn't like to move, but oh my God, did he make my moving process so easy, so just easy. That's the best word, uneventful and easy. It was great. And one of the things that he said is something having to do with moving and technology. Everything these days is focused on technology, right? We got AI, we've got internet, we've got chats, we've got everything. And you still have some of these moving companies that they show up and they have a clipboard and they're sticking stickers on your packages. So Mina, how do we get the moving company? And as an attorney that works with you, do not give any privileged or confidential information, but in general, in case some of your competition is listening, even though you have no competition in my head, what do you think the moving industry can do to potentially move into the 21st century?
Well, Jason, you're young, so you may not remember this, but there was a time when you used to have to call airlines to book a flight.
Yes.
And it was 10, 15-minute wait. You'd get a price and you'd call another airline. By the time you called back the airline with the best price, prices may have changed. Of course, along came Kayak, Booking.com, Expedia, and it simplified the process, as well as the internet and the websites being able to go directly to the airline. Well, the moving industry hasn't caught up. So one of the things that I've been blessed with is a mind to make things simple. So the moving industry still requires you to call moving companies, get quotes. Takes about 30 to 45 minutes to get a quote. After you go through one quote, you're like, man, I don't even care anymore. I don't even want to call anymore. So what we started working on 2 years ago is creating a moving marketplace where a consumer can go in there, in as little as 5 minutes, they can get quotes from up to 5 different moving companies.
So like it's an Expedia of moving.
It's an Expedia of moving with a little twist. One of the most time-consuming part of moving quotes is your inventory list. We created artificial intelligence technology that's patent pending that will allow you to turn your cell phone into a scanning device. It will scan your room, determine what the item is, such as a coffee table, how much space it takes on a truck, and how much it weighs. It also has the ability to be able to determine what packing materials you may need, and that will allow you to order it in order to keep costs down, shipped to your house so you can get started on packing before your move day.
So you can go ahead without leaving the comfort of your home and your cell phone. I'm assuming iPhone and whatever other company is out there. I forget the other one, Samsung. Scan all of your stuff, do an entire, like walk around, and that's it.
Without even needing a human being.
Wow.
But if you want human assistance, that's offered as well. The idea is the moving industry has a bad reputation. It's time consuming. Humans lie. And so we wanted to create a system that would allow you as the consumer to get the information you need and make the best decision with ease and with efficiency. And that's what we've created.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So basically, you don't have to leave the comfort of your home, and you have an idea or an exact. I mean, is it binding? As long as something, if I'm assuming if oh, I didn't scan my couch and I didn't scan my bed, that's going to increase. But as long as does somebody get like a printout or an inventory? Okay, you've scanned 4 mattresses and 7 cocktail tables and 4 couches. And then you could go, no, wait a second, I only have 3 couches. I must have done it twice. Is there like a
so that's
safety or a fail safe?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jason. So yes, it is a guaranteed quote. So what happens is you go ahead and when you scan and you put in your information, you will get a guaranteed quote based on that move. Okay, but we still allow you to make edits because we all know that your inventory list changes the closer you get to move day. So you can log in and you can make edits. What's nice about our system is it's done in a way that's consumer friendly so that your edits are uniform and they are specific to whatever it is you change. For example, there's stories out there where a customer gets a quote, moving company gets out there, they realize there's 1 extra couch and they charge them $3,000 for that extra couch. There's no algorithm, there's no system to determine. Everything we do is based on cubic feet and weight. So if you add a couch, it may add $150, $200, right? If you add 5 boxes, it may add $50. It all depends on what you add, and there's a whole system behind it. So we're trying to bring honesty back to the moving industry, as well as make it a pleasant experience, because we all know that moving typically comes with something positive, right? Hey, we're moving to a new house. How exciting. My kid's going to college. We're relocating. We're retiring. So why is it that something so exciting can be tied to something so stressful?
I remember the first time I moved, not with my parents, because I only recall moving with them once from New York to Florida. But I was on my own. We're moving to our first apartment, I want to say, or house. I don't recall which one. And the moving guy pulled up to the house and said, okay, now I need my balance. I'm like, finish unloading. No, we're not going to finish unloading until you pay me. Okay, I'll write you a check. Nope, won't take a check. I need cash. What do you mean you need cash? I didn't have that kind of cash. It was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I was a poor law school student. I didn't have cash. I had to run to the ATM, get cash while they were just sitting there. And by the time all of that, then the guy says to me, oh, the job's now taking longer because you had to run to the ATM. So we need another $150 for the hour. I'm like, are you kidding me? Obviously I'll never use them again. But at the same time, I mean, that I always felt like movers, they have your stuff, they have your money, they're holding you hostage.
It's a broken system. And those stories happen all the time. In fact, in 2011, the Senate had a meeting about the moving industry and all the problems in it. I mean, that's a pretty big deal when it goes to that level of the executive branches and the legislative branches to where they want to make change. So there's too much power, right? And a lot of people don't know the rules. There's lots of laws to protect consumers, but people don't know it. What Movery, which is the DBA of Moving Reinvented, does is it serves to protect the consumer. We know the rules. We know the laws. Everything is laid out there in front of you and transparent. And it allows for a better process. You pay Movery direct and Movery pays the carrier. We make sure, and there's contracts between the companies to make sure they do what they're supposed to do. And guess what? We're generating this business and giving it to moving companies. It's in the best interest of the moving company to do the good work for them to remain on our platform.
Right. To do the right thing. And a lot of times, people say, oh, I feel victim and oh, I feel this. And, look, I had to move, not your company where, the guy literally kicked my TV and he's like, oh, based on the weight, I owe you $57. I'm like, $57? This is a $2,000 TV. Yep, you didn't take out the extra insurance. So explain how insurance works for the consumer, not on your end. I know you carry insurance and liability and workers' comp and all the stuff that you're required to, but explain how insurance works for someone who is moving. I'm getting ready to move, and what are my insurance options?
Sure. So it's actually really simple. So the DOT requires that moving companies offer basic coverage. Basic coverage gives you 60 cents per pound per item. So your $600 TV may weigh 50 pounds, you're going to get $30. What most consumers don't realize is they think they have coverage and it's sufficient. And in many cases, it may be sufficient, but 60 cents per pound isn't going to cut it, especially for electronics and things like that. So one of the things that Movery offers is we offer full value protection, third-party insurance, and we inform you of this. When you book a move through Movery, you're automatically included in a drip campaign that gives you notification 30 days before your move, 20 days before your move, 15 days before your move, and it lets you know by now you should have completed this. This is what you need to do in the next week, and it prepares you. We create moving guidance, and we assist you. And for those people that prefer to talk to a live human, we got it. We give you everything you need. We make it simple in an industry that's archaic. And we believe that when given the choice, book with Movery or not book with Movery, it's going to be unanimously decided that Movery is a better option.
And that's MOOVERI.com for those people.
Correct. And that's coming in January 2024. We launched.
So January 2024, we've got Movery, MOOVERI.com hitting. And then January 11, my book is going to be hitting, which we're not going to talk about that today, but January 1, look for Movery. January 11, look for my book, and we'll be doing a show. And if you listen in to my show on that day, while the show is airing on January 11, from 12 to 1, I will offer my book for $1. So we got a lot of great things coming in 2024. Mina, yes. I will not be using your services in 2024 because I don't plan on moving again. I'm here, but when my son does go to college, depending on what's going on and where he's moving, I'd consider it. Not even consider it. I would do it in a heartbeat. If we're gonna go up and he's in a dorm room, I'm gonna just throw everything in a car and take a drive. But we will see. And that's one of the things that I'm gonna say here, and I'm gonna say it live, and I'm gonna say it in front. Mina's company, iMovers, is the first moving company that I can honestly wholeheartedly recommend. Like Hair Club, I'm not only a client, I'm the president, or I'm not only the president, I'm a client. I was a client of iMovers and Mina. And like I said, I can't say enough wonderful things. Did it go 1,000% the way that we wanted? No. Did it go 99.99999% of the way we wanted? Yes. What was that one thing? When they went to go pick up this piece of junk furniture bookcase that my wife didn't want, it kind of fell apart. And his guys were like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," and all this. And my wife's in the background like this, laughing. And I said to the guys, I said, "Don't worry about it. Let's just put it on the curb." My wife wanted to get rid of that thing anyway. It was old. It was broken. If it made it to the house, it was meant to be. If it didn't, it did. No, we feel so bad. No, guys, I'm telling you, it was a piece of junk. It was like $19 at a yard sale. Don't worry about it. They cared more than I did. And Mina called me up afterwards. I heard, no, dude, it was garbage. It was garbage. Don't worry about it. So someone actually cared. And in this day and age, I just, and I'm going to get off on a tangent, Mina, I feel like people just don't care about anything, right? Everybody cares about me. And then you get to a company that they're helping you and they care about your stuff. So I applaud you. I applaud your team. You've got a great group going there. And again, if anybody's ever thinking of moving, especially in 2024, check out Movery.com, MOOVERI.com, and reach out to Mina. I mean, he's happy to help. Now, Mina, I am sure business was booming in the beginning of 2023, the end of 2022, when the market was, you couldn't keep a house on the market for more than, a handful of days. Here in Florida, we haven't noticed much in a decrease in the real estate market, but based on the rest of the US, and I'm sure you have a better finger on the pulse than me, what's going on and how has it affected the moving industry?
Sure. So, the thing is, as you know, I've been in the real estate industry doing mortgages for 20 years, as well as moving for nearly 10. What we're seeing is the sudden increase in interest rates. Remember, we were historically around 4 or 5, then we dropped down to that magical 2%, 2.5%. Things were great. The moving industry was booming. Mortgages were booming. Realtors were doing great. Values were going up. And what we've seen is when values have gone up and interest rates have gone up, and they all went up very quickly, property values went up which is not necessarily a good thing. Interest rates went up to in the eights. People started questioning if it made sense to buy, because that $200,000 mortgage that you were going to have was now 50% more, in cost when you had property taxes, interest rate increases, homeowners insurance. You're paying 50% more than you were a couple of years ago. So, the industries have suffered right now. Real estate is suffering. Mortgages is decimated. And it is now, this is our slow season for moving, but the people always move, whether they're upgrading or downgrading, but the economy's not doing great, but everything goes in a cycle. So we expect, while we had 2 great years and things are on the downturn, we expect that it's going to bounce back. Real estate, mortgages, economy, everything. Obviously, we would love to see it aided by the government and speed that process up. But we can only control what we can control. So I think that you're going to see interest rates drop in the future. I couldn't tell you when. I think you're going to see people start buying and selling again. And people will always move. It's just what we do.
Do you think that when the economy and the housing market isn't great, people are skimping and saying, you know what, I can do it myself and I can go get a U-Haul and, spend $19.99 an hour and I'll get 2 of my buddies to help me out for a pizza and a beer, and people are less inclined to hire a moving company? Or do you think that regardless, I'm moving, I don't want to deal with it?
I think you're seeing more people hiring moving companies than ever before. One of the reasons for that is the cost of renting trucks, the cost of fuel, especially if you're doing a cross-country move. Sometimes the Penske trucks are $4.99 for a day for a local move at the end of the month. If you're renting a one-way truck, I've seen them $5,000-$6,000 for a one-way from Florida to New York.
Wow.
They are very expensive. At some point, it makes more sense to hire a moving company if you're moving out of state than it is to rent the truck, do it yourself, pay for fuel, hotel costs, and all that. It just makes more sense to hire a moving company and have them take on that liability and make sure your belongings are protected.
Right. And I didn't want the stress and physically, I mean, I can't do that anymore. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't care. But now that, I'm I'm in my upper 40s, I ain't doing that. I was just unpacking some of my stuff. And by the time you guys had, everybody left and all this kind of stuff, I was exhausted and I didn't really lift many boxes. So it's just, it's not a stress that you need, and just let people do it. Let people, handle it for you. Why should you, meaning a homeowner, have that added stress in your life? You mentioned, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the only thing that I would think would hold people back from hiring a moving company is the process that's currently in place. That's why we believe Movery is going to be so beneficial. It makes it easy and it lets you shop around, right? If you can hire a 5-star or 4-star moving company and you can shop them around and you can book it, it's going to cost you about the same as if you did it yourself. It's a no-brainer.
Now, you mentioned something when you were talking about the Penske truck. See, I listened, that if it was the end of the month move, it could be $5,000 or $6,000. Is there a time or a secret or something where, if you're not in a rush, you're better off moving, in the middle of the month, or, like my wife's grandmother used to only book flights either on phone or on computer on Tuesdays because she felt that was the best day of the week to get a flight.
That's actually been documented that Tuesdays you get really good deals, ironically enough, on flights.
Well, then Eleanor, who would have been like 100 right now, she was spot on, and that's it. So in the moving industry, do you see, I'm guessing most people try to close at the end of the month. That's when it is. So I would think those last handful of days in the month are crazy, and even the first couple. But
that's correct.
So if you don't have a stress and you don't have a timeline and you don't have anything, do you get a better deal, or is there more availability?
Start early. If you start early, if you book a move, whether you hire a company or you're going to do it yourself, and you do it early, you're going to get the best deals.
And is there a time of the month that's better to move?
I mean, it's always busy at the end of the month and beginning because people are either moving out at the end of the month or moving into a new apartment in the beginning of the month. That typically, obviously, slow season is, for those who don't know, our busy season is April through September. When you get into the months we're in right now in December and January, it's slow season. So you're going to get better deals because moving companies need to keep their guys working. So they're going to offer deals that no chance they would offer during the summer.
So everybody that's listening, that's a consumer that's thinking about moving, try to have your moving done October, November, December, even January, February. And look, if you got to move March through September, just know you won't get as good of a deal. Book it as far in advance as you can. Starting January 1, you could check out movery.com. mooveri.com. And you'll reach out to Mina with, iMovers and a couple of his other things. One of his, I'm not going to say side hustles because it's not side, but one of his parallel businesses is that he can help you with a mortgage as well. There's that great crossover between, hey, I need a mortgage for my house and I got to move. Well, you can go to Mina's, a one-stop shop. He can help you out on your mortgage as well. So Mina, you got mortgage, you got moving. What else you got in your bag of tricks over there?
I mean, I don't know if I can handle any more. I think, I got different segments of the moving industry, obviously the technology part, as well as the moving company, mortgages. I think the only other thing I could think of is, doing a co-podcast with Jason Weiss. Other than that, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think you got plenty. Now, are there, for your current company, iMovers, are there geographical restrictions, or you move all over the United States?
So for the moving company, we're a growing moving company. We've grown exponentially in the last 3 years. We service pretty much everything east of the Mississippi River. So that's a good amount of states. And we also operate in the Northwest, Utah, Washington. We don't do we only do locals in Salt Lake City. But for long distance moves, we operate. But that's the beauty of Movery is going to not only allow you to get quotes from iMovers, but it will also allow you to get from other companies around you so that you can get the best deal. But currently for iMovers, I would say we cover about 30 to 40% of the U.S., which is pretty solid. The Northwest, as well as up and down the East Coast from Maine to Florida. And we go into a little bit into Michigan, Ohio, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky. So great people that we have working for us who truly care. You can attest to that.
Yep.
And we're just trying to change the moving industry one move at a time.
Now, what about, now you mentioned something along the lines that you can go on Movery and you could pick out boxes, mattress pads, mattress bags, tape, bubble wrap. Like you can get all of that through the Movery app, or?
So we're trying to make this as an all-in-one stop where you can get everything and then even things you never thought of. So what Movery is excited to be announcing soon is we're going to offer utility concierge for our customers at no cost. So if you're moving and you book through Movery, we will set up your electric, your heat, your gas, your internet, We'll have a call with you, whatever it is that you want, we'll have it set up for you. You don't have to talk to any of these companies. You don't have to do anything. The day you move in, everything's set up and it's at no cost to you. Some other services that we offer, obviously guaranteed quotes. We're going to be offering buy now, pay later for, budget friendly moves. We also have our system, which will be able to tell you an idea of what packing materials you should need in case you want to do it yourself, ship it right to your house. We want to make this process as easy as possible. We're going to be rolling out a bunch of new things for Movery as well. That's just going to make it a pleasant experience for the consumer.
Right. I remember, and I don't know if this is still the way, because that's not how we do it, but I remember there was like a concierge type program where, it was, they would come and they would pack all your stuff for you and then load it into the truck, as opposed to what we decided to do was, we packed 95% of our stuff ourselves. Like, mattresses, you guys put in bags and taped up, and we weren't going to do that. But like, to empty out the bookcase, like, I got books behind me. Each book, was placed in a box. We sealed the box. We numbered it box number 1. We put it in our old school notebook. And we knew when you guys got to the house that, box number 1 is books. That goes in Jason's office. Is that something that, you guys will also offer? And do you see it going that way that, hey, look, we'll just come to your house on a Tuesday. We'll pack it Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll move you out on Thursday, like something along those lines?
Absolutely. So iMovers as well as Movery, when you go to Movery, you'll be able to select whatever you need a la carte. So you'll select what day you want to move. If you show flexibility, you can put up exact day pickup, or you want to show a 2-day pickup, 3-day pickup. The more flexible, the more savings you get. You want to add packing, no problem. Unpacking, no problem. Junk removal, storage, you name it. We're creating this system to allow you to play with it and do it as you need to meet your budget and to meet your needs.
And how about with pods too? Are you working with a pod company?
That is there. We have plans to offer DIY moves, discounts on companies such as U-Haul and Penske and Pods, and so we're down the road. We haven't added that right now. Right now, those systems are not available. What we offer is moving companies with ease booking and with quality service, and from there we're going to expand to offer DIY.
Gotcha. And what and look, when we go to travel and we get on an airplane, we know, like you got to take your laptop out and you're not allowed to, fly with lighters and flammables and all this. I'm always the one who, and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe you can educate me. I know, like when I moved, I took the propane off my grill, and your team took the grill, I cleaned it and all this, and propane went in a separate. So like, as you're planning your move, what should you in the back of your head be saying, okay, I'm going to have to get rid of that, or I'm going to have to move it myself? What are like the no-nos? Like, we ain't touching that because it's against the law or against our policy.
All you need to do is check your email, because we're going to give you all that information in advance. But to answer your question, firearms are one you got to worry about, because you can't cross certain state lines. Obviously anything flammable, propane tanks, liquids are anything, live plants. Department of Agriculture is not okay with that. And most importantly, no pets.
Yeah. You can only do, the ones that visit a taxidermy first, right?
Yes. We've had people ask, can you take my pet?
No pets. What about pianos and big items like that? Are you licensed, certified, or willing to do that? Because I know that my sister-in-law had a very expensive piano that I think was part of her family, and I know that when she moved with my brother, they had to have the piano shipped separately.
Yeah, so there are a lot of moving companies do pianos and different things like that. Some do pool tables. Pool tables are a little tricky. So usually what we'll do is we'll ask them to call a company that will go ahead and break it down. And then when they get there, they'll call to set it up. But every moving company is different. They all have their expertise. Pianos are common. Grandfather clocks are common. We deal with all kinds of bulky items, kayaks, canoes, hot tubs. I mean, there isn't much we haven't seen. Safes are a tricky one because some of these safes are very heavy. So one of the things we'll do is why it's so important to get an inventory list is so we can identify these items and prepare properly.
So let's see. You didn't do my safe. I took that myself. My son had this huge lacrosse goal, which your guys took apart for me and threw in the truck. What were some of the other things? Ping pong table you moved. Patio furniture you moved. Grill without propane you moved. What else? What were some of the other things? We said ping pong. We said we didn't have
pool tables and safes tend to be a little bit of the most tricky ones. Pianos are good because even if we don't have a piano, somebody who specializes in breaking down certain pianos, like a baby grand, there are piano companies that will come in that moving companies will hire and will professionally break it down for transit. And that's really the most important thing, is breaking it down and wrapping it properly.
And you did transport a grandfather clock for my parents, and it's still alive and well and doing great. So I actually had to go over and change out some of the batteries recently. So again, I can't say enough positive things. And my mom, who's very critical, like her son, one of her friends is moving, and she's like, "Oh, I got the moving company for you, iMovers and Mina," and so it's good. And again, it's very uncommon for someone to be able to say, I've used a moving company and I like them. And it could be bad reputation. It could be, not of the of moving in general. And there are just so many things, like you said. This is supposed to be a happy day. You're going to college, you're moving, you're buying your first house, you're getting out of an apartment, you're doing whatever it is. And there's also the sad parts, like I'm moving, a parent to an assisted living facility, or my kid is going away to college, or I'm downsizing, or I got transferred. So I think it's just important to know that you've got a company behind you that for the good, the bad, the empathy, the excitement, and the caring. And that's the one big thing I can put out there, that there was just a ton of caring. Everybody on the crew cared. And that was huge. And I think that starts at the top. And that starts with you. So movery.com, MOOVERI.com. And we're getting close to the end here, Mina. So I didn't tell you this, but people that listen regularly, they know I save my hardest question of the day for the end. So and usually it's about a movie or about a book or about something. So like, what is your, what is the most unique thing that you have ever tried to figure out how to help a client move?
What is the most unique thing in regards to moving that I had to figure out? Oh, that one's easy. We had a customer. This is wild. We had a customer that was moving from New Zealand to the U.S., and we had to coordinate picking it up from the port to pick up his brand new furniture and take it to a high-rise condo in Miami. We had to deal with freight brokers. That would be A. And then if I'll throw a simple B, is doing a move to Canada. Not as difficult, but obviously a lot more entail to taking something across the border. But the New Zealand, dealing with freight brokers and ports and stuff like that, that was a doozy.
That's crazy. So to sum it up, use movery.com starting January 1, 2024. If you want to move in the time period before that starts, check out iMovers and look for Mina. Go ahead, plan your move early. Try to move in the middle of the month if you can, and try to move somewhere between October and February, because you're going to have more flexibility. You have any questions you need to about supplies, tariffs, moving, fees, mortgages, the industry, or just how to be a great guy, reach out to Mina at Mina, M-I-N-A, at Movery, MOOVERI.com, or check out his website, which is up and running, but really won't be functional until January 1st, 2024. Movery, MOOVERI.com. Mina, as always, I thank you for being a friend, for being on the show, for reinventing moving, and for allowing me to have you here.
Pleasure was all mine, Jason.
We'll look forward to seeing everybody in 2 weeks. And for those of you that we don't, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy everything. Enjoy the holiday season. If you need me, you could get me at Jason at jswlawyer.com or Jason at askjasonweiss.com, and be on the lookout. January 11, my book drops, Amazon. Thank you, everyone. CC, as always, you're the best. And I look forward to seeing you all after the Christmas holiday.